Over the past several months, the B&O Railroad Museum has partnered with the Rail Preservation and Cosmetic Restoration team at FMW Solutions to prepare for America 250 in 2026. Back in July, we started working here in Baltimore, Maryland on the AFT number 1, the American Freedom Train. Originally 2101, that was involved with the Reading. This is a very special project to us because growing up, for many steam train fans, the American Freedom Train was iconic. It was hard to miss. Whether the Freedom Train came to your town or you heard it on a recording or saw it in a film, they're very memorable machines. And because they made their way all over the country, they were witnessed by millions of people during a very special celebration. So to work with the team here at B&O and dust off this locomotive and make it look just as it did when it set off on the Freedom Train journey is very meaningful. We started with abatements for asbestos in the cab, removed all the jacketing, and we removed all the jacketing along the entire boiler and firebox area, and used the old pieces for patterns and ordered steel and put new jacketing on the entire locomotive. There were certain parts of the cab that had to get cut off because they were deteriorated or crushed in, and that was mainly on the roof, so we took care of that. There were certain parts that were missing that we had to have fabricated, like the number board doors. A locomotive is a piece of art, and it was not unusual for engines to be placed in ceremonial dress or paint schemes like this in their heyday. But this was really one of the last times in America that something like this was done on any grand scale with a steam locomotive. Locomotives are rarely any color other than black, so a train in red, white, and blue is really taking it in a different direction. One of the most recognizable pieces of AFT1 is the Great Seal of the United States on the tender, which has its origins going all the way back to the Continental Congress. And we knew we had to find the right collaborators to help finish this piece of art. The Great Seal, like the restoration itself, had to be done by hand, and of course painted authentically like the original. So the Tutwilers, they were involved with some of the runs and doing some advertising for the train. And they also spent their honeymoon on the train back in the day. And we were very fortunate to get people like the Tutwilers, who are such talented artists in the railroad community, involved with our project here. And we were thrilled to have them doing the work for the Great Seal.
Liné and I traveled with the American Freedom Train, made that connection through a painting that I sold to the Pepsi-Cola company, one of the sponsors of the original American Freedom Train. And we hung that painting in it was a scene of the 4449 coming out of Chicago, and the company wanted some more paintings of the American Freedom Train in the West, in the mountains, and so they sent us out there and gave us a passage on the train, and we were literally forced to get married sooner by the American Freedom Train, because we were going to make that trip west without being married first. So we pushed the buttons and made it all come together in record time.
The Great American Seal is 72 inches across, and it's just a fun thing to paint. So once we decided that yes, we would do this project, then David kicked in and said, okay, we've got to do some preliminaries. He spent weeks gathering the proper paint and putting parts of the seal onto metal so that we knew exactly how the paint worked on the surface. We didn't know how how pitted it would be, but at least we could feel how the paint would go on. And should it go on in layers, or should we, paint around everything the color that it should be?
We're trying to frame this all into 10 days. One of the biggest difficulties is the time, the drying time in the paint. We're using a one-shot sign painter's paint, which had to be, we had to prime that surface first and get it prepared and put on a base on there, and so all the putting all those details together and getting it. It's certainly not like working on canvas, but a locomotive tender like this makes quite an impressive canvas surface to work with. So it's different. It's very different.
We're kind of pulling through some of the final details just to pull things together a bit. And right now I'm just adding in some feather details on this eagle and put a little shadowing on some of the feather design here. Just kind of fine tuning things, and that's what all this last detail stuff is about, and getting all that pulled together. And the feather forms they're somewhat stylized. This isn't like fine art painting. This is more stylized to design. And that's kind of what we're trying to maintain with this, to get the image across without crossing the barrier away from what's required for the seal to make sense. But we still want to put a little bit of fine art fine tuning into it as much as we can. It's been very interesting working with this paint. It's not like oil paint out of the tube. It's got its own kind of characteristics, and you kind of have to get used to that. But it's all it's all part of the process, and it all slowly comes together until it's all finalized and finished and completed. We hope everybody's happy too.
I met David at the American Academy of Art in Chicago, 1973, and he was the only one in class that was diligently working. I thought, oh, this is a true artist.
And of course I introduced Liné at the time to steam trains by having one of our first dates, a steam excursion out of Chicago. It was 50 years ago that we first got started. It was really the beginning stages of not knowing how long we would be able to survive in the arts, because it's a very precarious scenario. Neither of our parents wanted us to get married or be artists, because that's not the way to make a living and survive. And yet, we thought, when I graduated from the academy, I thought it would be a good thing to give it my best shot and see how far it would go. And I thought, well, maybe this will last a few weeks.
Yeah, here we are 50 years later. We were married in '75, and we're the real thing. We supply 7 galleries across the country, from Colorado to Maine, Maine to Florida. We make a living at it. We raised 6 children solely on the sale of our paintings, no other jobs.
Going all the way back to my grade school days and the early beginnings of hearing the steam trains out the window that the Burlington would operate on occasion, coming in and out of the city, which went very close by where I was going to school. It was an inspiration in my head that I never knew that would unfold into so much adventure with railroading connections, and especially steam. That's kept us going, kept us percolating, and we're still at it. Half a century later, we're still here.